What's up, guys? Just a little bit ago, USA Today dropped a lot of new information about Star Wars Resistance, and specifically the Aces pilots that protect the Colossus station. So me and Molly and her new haircut are gonna break it all down for you.
I was not planning on debuting my haircut today. I just got back from the salon, so...
It's gonna be weird tomorrow when in the Q&A it's long again.
Oh.
But anyway, let's talk Resistance. Here we go. So yeah, like I said, the Aces are 5 pilots that are hired to protect Colossus, and Dave Filoni calls them 5 of the best pilots in the galaxy.
Amongst the galaxy, yeah. So they're there to protect the base for any threats.
Which I was not expecting. I thought that they were
Yeah.
just going to be racers.
Yeah.
But that just sounds like their side hobby. And I guess, do you think they're under attack from the First Order?
That's what I was going to say. I wonder, like, how often they get threats.
Yeah, I mean, I would guess later on they call them reluctant resistance members, that this isn't something that they particularly want to do. It sounds like they more want to race, but I guess the First Order would be their main threat, or maybe it's pirates or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the themes of this show is finding out who all these people are during peacetime, because right now the whatever we're calling the First Order Resistance conflict, it hasn't started yet. The First Order is still kind of hiding. So
I love that their races, like, they put their pictures up, and it just reminds me of, like, Quidditch from Harry Potter or something.
yeah, it kind of ties in with it looks like a better, more polished version of the pod racing. Like, you get all these introductions and you see the holovids and stuff, and they're like waving from their pod racer, but I don't know, everything looks a little more clean and crisp now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like the racing is going to take up a lot of the show, and then we'll also have like this occasional conflict with whoever's attacking Colossus.
Mm-hmm. I love that they each have their unique outfits, and their ships are fully custom. Like, they all look completely different.
And their droids. Yeah, I like that everyone has their own kind of, their colors, their ships, their outfits, and their droids all to match their personalities. So that's a good segue into actually talking about each of the individual racers. So Tora Doza is the first pilot highlighted. She looks like she's going to be one of the main characters as well, and they said that she was the daughter of Captain Doza, who I guess is in charge of Colossus. I don't know that they've talked about him at all before.
Yeah, and it's interesting that they talk about her finding a friend in Kaz. I bet she is probably, I don't want to say bullied by the other people, but they probably don't want to, be too hard on her or anything or get too close to her because they're afraid of the captain.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And they've also said that the captain is a little overprotective of her, even though he lets her defend the station and race and stuff. But yeah, it sounds like she just doesn't have any people her age or that match her personality, really.
It would be like being the daughter of the principal at your school.
It's funny you bring that up. We actually did a podcast with our friend Brian Bailey. He does the Moon Jockeys podcast, and he brought up the idea that this might be kind of a metaphor for middle school, and I thought that was a great point in this whole like fish out of water Kaz entering this new group of people who are probably already friends or at least familiar with each other. It was a good podcast. I'll link to it in the description if you're interested in hearing that. But I know you want to talk about that little cat creature.
What is that cat thing? I want it.
You screamed
and I want
at
it now. Yeah.
You just went, "What is that?"
At first I thought it was a droid, and like that was her droid, and it was just shaped like a cat, but it looks like it's an actual creature, and I want 7 of them.
It's so fat.
I love it. It looks like something straight out of like a Japanese anime too, which is great.
Yeah, makes sense. So that's Tora. She is incredibly gifted as a pilot, and she's going to be friends with Kaz. I think that she will be probably more highlighted than the other aces, I feel like. I think that they're going to be more kind of side characters for some reason. Mm-hmm. But yeah, moving on to Hype Faison. He's the character I think I love already as much as you love that little cat thing.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm pretty excited by Hype's character also.
Yeah, I know I'm going to love him. I love Donald Faison. I was a huge fan of Scrubs growing up, and I know that he is a giant Star Wars fan. I mean, he has a YouTube channel where he makes stop motion Lego Star Wars videos. he loves Star Wars, and he's like done voices in the Robot Chicken Star Wars episodes. So seeing him actually a part of the galaxy now, and seeing his enthusiasm for it, how excited he is, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, and the fact that Dave Filoni created his character based on him is pretty awesome.
Yeah, which I'm just so excited to see him continue to be a part of Star Wars. And yeah, the cocky racer that has a heart of gold and actually does care. I like those types of characters. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he brings. Oh, and I love that he has like sponsors on his ship, that he's just so full of himself. He's going to be like maybe a nicer Sebulba.
Yeah. He was giving me Ricky Bobby vibes a little bit, but like nicer.
Yeah. I am just so excited to see more. And the idea that, I don't know, potentially he could come to Dragon Con one year and we would have the chance to talk to him, that blows my mind.
Yeah.
Just crossing my fingers hard. I'm going to keep them crossed all year.
We're hyped for hype.
You did it. Next up is Griff Halloran, and honestly, this is a character that I didn't know I would be so excited for. We saw like an image of just this dude with an Imperial tattoo, and I don't know, I didn't think he was going to be a major character. I just thought he'd be some gruff guy that Kaz ran into, but the fact that he is one of the aces and will be a somewhat major part of the show, that excites me a lot, because I love characters that are out for redemption. I love stories about good guy or bad guys going good. So I kind of feel like that's what Griff's story is going to be. He is going to be this cantankerous old ex-Imperial man that everyone's like, probably steer clear of him, but I think he's probably going to wind up helping fight against the First Order, and that's going to be awesome.
I really hope that we get his backstory and like how he left the Empire and became part of the rebellion. And I love his helmet.
Oh yeah, his helmet looks great. I love
got like the painted on
the design
type face.
The design of everything that he has. The modded TIE fighter, his droid or astromech or whatever looks vaguely like an Imperial probe droid. All of his designs just look like custom Imperial stuff. It looks like something one of our friends would have made with their X-Wing miniatures, like just tear them apart and put them back together.
Speaking of ships, his ship looks amazing.
Right.
Just like a crazy modded out TIE fighter.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm excited to see what he brings, if he is going to go towards redemption, or I mean, there's a possibility that he is like playing with the First Order. Kaz's mission is to seek out spies. He'll probably be like a red herring. He'll probably like keep a close eye on Griff and will be led to believe that he's bad for a while, and then it'll turn around and we'll see that Hype Faison is going to break all of our hearts instead.
Or he might be the one that's like the most skeptical about Kaz as he first joins in. Yeah,
I think I could see him being skeptical towards everyone and just being like, we were the Empire, we were the greatest, and yeah, and like you said, I want to know his backstory. What battles did he take part in? How did he leave the Empire? I guess he was just granted amnesty from Mon Mothma, which they kind of talked about that in Last Shot, how that all went down. But yeah, I'm excited for him almost as much as I am for Hype. And I'm also just excited that Steven Stanton is voicing a character.
He's voiced so many people in Star Wars.
You have been speculating that he is a part of the show for a while, and I kept being like, well, they haven't mentioned anything. And yeah, I know he's tweeting about it a lot, but I don't know who he'd play. And then, of course, it's like the first thing that happens is there's Steven Stanton voicing Griff, and I'm like, okay. Well.
Yeah, he's done what? Admiral Radis. He's done
Colonel Gascon.
He's done
Tarkin,
and what, the Clone Wars?
Yeah, and he's done so many voices just in the Clone Wars throughout.
Yeah. Oh, Obi-Wan and Rebels.
Yep.
Man.
So yeah, he's got quite the history under his belt of voice acting, and I'm glad to see him back, and glad to see him in, hopefully, a major part of the show. Next up is Freya Fenris, and they didn't go into her a whole lot. They just kind of described her as icy and cold, but also someone that you could rely on to have your back. So, yeah, I think she's going to be just kind of like a battle-hardened veteran. I don't know, maybe she also has a past in the Rebellion or the Empire or something.
Yeah, she reminds me a little bit of a young Leia, maybe. She even has kind of like the buns with like an extra bun in the back. But yeah, that she is not going to take anyone's crap and, you know, wants to keep things in line. But yeah.
someone on Twitter, at BoxerlessBosk, he pointed out that Freya's character has the same last name as one of the background characters in Solo, A Star Wars Story. Astrid Fenris could be seen at the lodge on Vandor, and she was described in the Solo visual guide as a smuggler from Ur Tangi. She piloted a modified YT-2400 freighter called the Silver Howl. She's also described as a bit of a schemer and con artist, so I don't know, maybe Freya's going to share some of that, or maybe she'll be resentful of her family's past.
Yeah. It's interesting to me that they gave her like a Russian accent.
Yeah.
Does that make her seem like more sly or like
icier,
schemy?
I don't know, maybe. I guess from the description that we've seen of her, I don't see her as anyone that isn't going to be straightforward with you. It's interesting that they clearly made that connection. I don't think it's a coincidence that Pablo Hidalgo gave this background character this history and the same last name.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it'll be something like, well, my parents used to be smugglers and I don't like that life and I'm trying to go against it.
Yeah.
And the last member of the Aces is Blo Kuhn. He is kind of the stuntman, Evel Knievel member of the group, which makes sense. That's kind of what his name implies.
Yeah, and we've got another alien race as part of the group. He's the Keldor, which is what Blo Kuhn was.
Right. I'm excited to see another Keldor out there. I mean, I have always loved that species. Yeah. And seeing like a non-Jedi one, I don't know why I'm excited about that, but I am.
Yeah, I love his ship is like a transformer almost. Like it's got 4 wings and it's got all these different configurations. They're gonna sell mega toys from this show.
Yeah, right. And they're
everything comes down to toys.
I also like that he is described as always crashing. Like he's one of the best pilots in the galaxy, but he's crashing constantly because he's just trying to do crazy things all the time.
Probably kind of a show off.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't really say much more about him, but like you said, I'm just excited to see more of Blo Kuhn's species around. Yeah. I don't know. I've always been drawn to those guys. And again, he's like described as silent and mysterious, just like Blo Kuhn kind of was. So
and Blo Kuhn was a great pilot, wasn't he?
I mean, the Jedi were generally, yeah. So unfortunately, he wasn't good enough to dodge Order 66.
Well, we all know about that.
So yeah, those are all of the pilots listed as members of the Aces, but we did learn a little bit more about the First Order as well. I guess the First Order Ace, the red armored TIE pilot, his name is Major Von Reg.
So not Cardinal.
Yeah, I guess that is confirmation that he's not Captain Cardinal, and I have to accept that now.
Yeah, I mean, it made sense that it would be a new character, but anyways, so now we know who that is.
Yeah. So he, I guess, will be, I mean, he's described in the article as the Red Baron of the First Order. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the First Order, there is a shot of an Upsilon-class shuttle, which the only one of those that we know of is Kylo Ren's. Mm-hmm. So maybe Kylo Ren's in the show?
I'd be surprised. It's not something that I thought would show up in a show like that, but I would be happily surprised to see him. I'm starting to think that maybe Kylo Ren is going to have some appearances. I just don't see him going out there like that would be something he would send Hux off to do. Or maybe Hux steals his ship. It does seem like it's below both of their pay grades, honestly. Yeah. So maybe that's Von Reg's shuttle. Could be, yeah. Or maybe Kylo has some beef with the captain? I don't know. It just depends on what the actual major plot of the show is, because it might wind up being a big thing where Kylo Ren's like, yeah, I feel like stepping in here, but we just don't know yet. And speaking of all that in the First Order, we heard that they were kind of describing the Aces as reluctant resistance fighters, and they're being thrust into this fight with the First Order. Although I do fear that at least one of them is going to wind up being a spy, because as Donald Faison mentions, like the show has racing but also espionage, and Kaz's mission is to find spies, so yeah, I feel like one of them's gonna be bad. Yeah. Which one do you think it's gonna be? Like I said, I think Griff is the red herring. I don't know. I think just because he is so silent and mysterious, I'm leaning towards Blo Kuhn. I just don't want it to be hype. Yeah. I'm wondering if it could be Tora. I mean, that would probably break a lot of hearts.
Really?
If it were...
I was thinking there's no way it's Tora.
Or maybe her dad.
Ooh, that would be a bummer.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, because that would be... He's basically in charge of that station, and what if he is the spy?
Yeah.
And they all have to kind of work together.
I could see that happening. I like that more than Tora.
Yeah. I did it. I solved it.
Freya, I mean, all of them are potentials, but I think that Tora and Griff are probably the least likely.
Yeah, and I think we'll get a lot of episodes that are going to lead us in the direction of each character, like, oh,
yeah,
they did something sneaky.
Someone did something shifty this time.
Yeah, and then the next episode will be like, well, what about this guy? He did something sneaky too. So, yeah. I don't know.
I think that this is the first trailer for Resistance that actually got me like really excited. Getting to know these characters a little better, especially the pilots. Like, you guys know that I love pilots, so getting to meet them and seeing what they're all about, especially Hype and Griff, got me very excited because those personalities, I don't know, they just excite me. They speak to me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really have any expectations going into this. It's a brand new story, so I was like, I'm going to keep an open mind, and so far, everything I've seen, I've liked. And again, I want to reiterate the cat. If someone could
make you a plushie or something,
find one and get it to me, I would like that.
I'll keep an eye out for the Funko Pop for you. But yeah, what did you guys think of this video? We'll link to the USA Today article and video below if you haven't seen it already. But let us know in the comments what you thought.
Yeah, who do you think is going to be your favorite character?
Who's your favorite? Who do you think the traitor's going to be, if any of them?
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.